I never thought that when I started playing basketball, I was going to get a scholarship somewhere and I was going to play in college and all that. I just wanted to play because I could play. You know, that my Birmingham growing up, that's a very interesting question because I grew up and I went to Parker High School. And when I say that today, people say, oh, Parker High School, that area. Well, that's not the area that's not the world I grew up in.
But first of all, he was a good student. Everybody loved him because he was a, easygoing person. It was a tough neighborhood, but it was a nice neighborhood. He had a mother who went out there, like you said, I never knew his father. But at the same time, people would take care of you in the neighborhood too.
His mother was a single parent. She always expected him not to give any excuses about anything.
My mom was, she was something else. That's who Mildred Hudson was. She was a young mother, a single parent, and I laugh when I talk about her because, traditionally I didn't grow up with some of the things that people say, well, this is what you should have. We had a park that I learned how to play basketball in. I knew I could play, but in the park, there was no respect to a person in the park. It didn't matter if you could play or not. You had to win to keep playing.
He loved the game. He knew he could play too. He was in a neighborhood where kids came behind him, but he was such a good athlete and a good person. Other little kids looked up to him.
Well, I never played organized basketball until I was in the 10th grade. I went out in the 9th grade, and my mom decided, no, I don't know about this basketball stuff because I don't want any bad grades coming in here. So she told me I couldn't play in the 9th grade.
He asked again in 10th grade, and to his surprise, she agreed, with one stipulation. He could not get anything lower than a B. He never did. In Wendell's senior year at A.H. Parker High School, his team went 23-1, winning Alabama's first integrated state playoffs. A year earlier, in 1968, Coach Paul Bear Bryant reached out to a young coach he knew from his days at Kentucky to turn around the Alabama basketball program. C.M. Newton, who had just successfully integrated Transylvania University, had just one question for Bryant. Would there be any restrictions on who he could recruit? Bryant said there would not, opening the door to integrating the Alabama athletic program.
Coach knew he needed to win basketball games. He knew he needed to get some black athletes in there to do that. And Wendell, of course, was the starting piece of that.
Promise that C.M. Newton made to my mom. He said, I'm going to do everything to take care of your son from my standpoint, that we're going to make sure he's safe and we can take care of him and all that. My mom felt she was nervous. I know that. No, it wasn't that she didn't trust white people. It was just, my mom was older, Alabama, the history of Alabama, all the stuff that's going on down there. She had to trust them to think, okay, it's okay.
On April 25, 1969, Wendell signed with the University of Alabama.
We had a little signing party at my house, and that was CM and one of his assistants and one newspaper guy. It was a quiet signing party. And later on, CM and I talked about it. He said, Hud, it was going to be big enough news anyway. We did not need to have a circus. On the recruiting process, they brought me down, and I said, watch them play. I could play there. Now, that's arrogant, I guess, but the truth of the matter is, I'm like, yeah, I can play there.
In the fall of 1969, Wendell entered the Bryant Hall dining room for the first time with his teammates.
When we walked through the door, all this chatter, you know how guys, there was a bunch of guys in there eating, playing football, and all this chattering and talking. But as I walked through there, it got quieter and quieter and quieter and quieter. And I'm like, okay. Did I know that it had gotten quieter? Absolutely. And I knew why it was quieter. But when I got to the front of the line and looked behind the line, the servers and cooks and stuff like that, they were black. And smiles was on their faces, and they were looking at me, and they were so happy. And I got my little tray, and I said, I want that, and whatever it was. And it was so heavy by the time I got out of the line that it was unbelievable. I couldn't have eaten all that food in one setting. But that also told me something. I know there might be some people with problems with me being here, but there's some people that are really happy I'm here on this side of the line also.
Everything that a freshman player, a freshman student, the first time away from home, he's going through all of that, just like everybody else. but he's also the first black player. There's nobody else who understands because he's the first.
Later that fall, Wendell sat alone at a table eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and noticed Coach Bryant in the cafeteria line.
He got his sandwich and all that, and he came over to my table and he said, "Hey, can I sit down here?" I'm thinking, oh my, can you sit down here? I'm thinking, yeah, I'm in Bryan Hall. In my mind, I said, yes, sir. And he sat down at the table and started kind of talking. I do not remember the conversation. I can tell you that right now. So I'm sitting there thinking, well, one of my teammates gotta come and sit down at this table. No one even came close enough that I could even talk to in the next table and sit down at that table. And I'm trying to eat that peanut butter and jelly sandwich as fast as I can. I'm thinking, don't get choked, don't pass out in here.
Coach Bryant understood what it's like to be on the outside looking in because he grew up very poor.
I think he did it to say to everybody, all the football players that was in there, because if Coach Bryant come and sit down with you, and then he's okay, everybody's okay.
Hudson made an immediate impact on Alabama basketball.
It was an amazing time to be there because when we showed up, nobody came to the game, very few. But then we started getting good. And guess what? People wanted to buy our tickets. Hot dog. We're starting to rate up there. And by the time we finished, we packed the place.
As a freshman, the people would come out and watch us play because we were pretty good, and then the crowds would get smaller when the varsity played.
He played against bigger guys, stronger guys, but he could just maneuver in tight spaces and go up and get that jump shot. It was just amazing.
Really hacked me off. He could jump a lot higher than I could. I prided myself on my offensive abilities. He didn't need to do all the stuff I need to do. He just turn around and jump over you.
I'm a 10-year-old kid attending the CM Newton camp, and meeting Wendell Hudson was like meeting Michael Jordan. So I was in a fog because he was my hero on the court.
In the winter of 1970, the Alabama freshman basketball team visited Ole Miss for the first time as an integrated squad.
Well, we were warming up, and the crowd started yelling at Wendell. And I don't know if I should say what they said, but it was ridiculous. And we went to HUD and asked him, these guys need to shut up, and we can go make them shut up. And we're happy to go do that. And he said, don't be ridiculous. We're not going to do that. Forget it. Doesn't affect me.
To be a freshman and to deal with all that at that age and to be the only one there, there's nobody else can understand what he's going through.
They never stopped. They got quieter after we beat them, but they never stopped.
All of that was tough enough. But what was really tough for me was that the officials wouldn't let me play. They would not let me play. I had 3 fouls in the first 3 minutes of the first half. I had to sit on the bench. I started the second half. The coach, I got a foul, and I couldn't even get out of the game before I got another foul. So I'm sitting over there on that bench and watching this game, and I'm thinking, boy, if I was out there playing, y'all wouldn't be talking about me. That's what, I would be killing y'all if I was out there playing.
You expect the crowd to be against you. But when the officials are against you too, the system, those in authority, that's the hard part to deal with. Just let me compete. Don't want any favors, no special treatment. Just let me compete on a level playing field.
I wasn't taught that I was inferior to anybody. I wasn't taught that I should not have the opportunity that other people have. I wasn't taught that somebody is better than me just because of the color of their skin and that kind of stuff. But what I knew I was going to do, I was going to try to be the best person and player that I can be.
Hudson led the team in scoring and rebounding his junior and senior years, earning first-team All-SEC both seasons. Under Coach CM Newton, Alabama went from 8-22 Wendell's freshman year to 22-8 in his senior season. The team accepted an invitation to the postseason NIT tournament for the first time in school history. Coach Bryant canceled spring practice to attend and sit on the bench, much to the football team's surprise.
You know, when you think about Wendell, certain phrases and words pop in my head. I think about competitor. I think about friend. I think about SEC Player of the Year. of course, I think about All-American. But last week, I was talking to somebody at the university ticket office, and she said, "Brett, I love Wendell Hudson." And you know, that just about sums it up. Everybody loves Hud.
I've always been impressed with Wendell. I've always been impressed with his honesty and those kind of things. But he also understood what was important in life.
With CM, he would say to me, as I grew up with him and coached with him and worked with him, he would say, "Hud, you were the right person. You was the right person." And I'm thinking, I didn't really understand that at some point. You was the right person. And I understand it now, and he was the right person.
Wendell graduated from Alabama in 1973, capping his remarkable career by winning SEC Player of the Year, the first in Alabama's history.
You go back to Vivian Malone, and you think back to Arthurine Lucy, and Wendell Hudson's name goes right up there with him. Well, he was the first, and there was only one first, and it was Wendell. And you know, he paved the way for the rest of us.
It means the world to me. You go back and you're around kids like that, or young people like that, and you see what they did, but how much they care for you. And like this situation here, it means a lot to me just being a part of him.
What I found out about change, when I think what CM Newton found out about change, and what we all found out about my teammates, is that it's not bad. Now, it's hard for some people, but it's not bad. When you see me, what do you see? And I ask people that all the time. I mean, what do you see? If you just see a black man, then you don't see me. And I think that what the Ole Miss deal did when all of this stuff happened, it made all my teammates, they didn't see me as a black young man. I was their buddy, their friend. And once you become their friend and their buddy, and these people are mistreating your friend and you care about them, it changes the whole world.